Hello everyone, welcome back to Spinksy's Speed Shop. Today we're going to be doing a rear power window conversion on the Corolla. Just a warning, this is a sort of conversion for a car that already came from the factory optioned, where you could get a trim level that had rear power windows. This is not a video for making custom power windows for a car that never came optioned with them. Fortunately, my Corolla here did have a trim level that had rear power windows. So what we've done is we've pinched all the goodies from a wrecked car that had rear power windows, and I'll show you what you need to do the job. So you're going to need the driver's 4-button window switch. That'll go into the driver's door trim, as well as the full wiring loom that comes attached to it. So a lot of these connectors on this side will plug into the back there. That runs through the door jamb, and then into the fuse box. You're going to need the rear door cards for the rear seats, as well as the switches that come with them. You're going to need, again, the wiring loom that comes off the switch, goes through the door. It'll run the motor for the window regulator, and as well as the central locking. So I think that's about it. Yeah, so essentially you need the door cards, the switches, the wiring looms that attach to them, and the window motors and regulators. And yeah, I'm gonna get stuck in now and start taking the driver's door apart so we can run the new wiring loom for the 4-button switch, and I'll run you through that process now. So I'll just run you through the tools we're gonna be using for the job. We've got a 10mm socket on a ratchet, some flat blade and Phillips head screwdrivers, pliers, torch, a trim clip removal tool. These come in very handy. Mirror, and then a whole bunch of plastic trim tools to help us get the door card off. So on the Corolla here, what we have is we've got a plastic clip here. So you unwind that with a Phillips and then pop it out. We've got a Phillips head there, another trim clip there. The whole bottom section is just held in by plastic clips, so we'll just pull that towards us, it'll pop off. We will remove the armrest, and there should be 2 Phillips head screws under there. This switch will pop out independently as well. So let's get stuck in. Rightio, first things first, we'll take these little guys off. So just unscrew them, and pop them out. On this side. All right, now we're going to pop up the armrest with our trim tool. Now we've got the 2 Phillips behind the door card, behind the armrest, sorry. Actually, before we take those off, we'll just pop our switch panel out. So you can see that comes out, and we've got our whole wiring loom here. We'll disconnect that, just push the tab down, give it a wiggle. And there's one more Phillips just in the door handle here. So it's always a good idea to pop the door handle off as well. And I'll show you behind the door handle. Okay, so after you pop the door handle off, you're going to need to remove the rod from the handle, which is held in by that purple clip just there. And so all you need to do is just flick that tab back to the right, like this. After you flick that tab off, you can then just get a small screwdriver in there and lever the rod upward. Just lever the rod up, and then it'll come out of the hole that holds it in. So I'll set you guys back up here. Just like that. Now that we've got everything removed from the door card, we can pop the whole door card off. So just reach on the edges there and just pull it back with your fingers. You might need a plastic trim tool if they're super tight, but I know this one will come off without it. So you hear popping noises. There it goes. Now let's have a look in behind the door skin here. So we'll just peel it back. This is all just Sikaflex holding the plastic on. You can see it's all over my arm. It's some sticky crap. Okay, let me run you through the harness section. So this part here is where it goes through the door, just there. We got these three connectors that we're gonna plug in behind these kick panels here, which I'll remove in a sec, and I'll show you how to do that. If we follow the harness along, we've got these three connectors. We've got a brown one, a white one, and then also another skinny white one. They go up here. These are for our electric mirrors and our speaker. If we follow the harness along, we'll find that this one branches out and it's got the, looks like a Deutsch connector on the end of it. That one runs down to here, and that's for our central locking. Then you've got this branch here, which splits off, and this section here will connect into our new 4-button switch. So this connector here is just like an earth block. This will plug into the back of that one, and our white one will plug in there. And as for the gray one, that comes up here and runs, might also be part of that'll be for the window motor, for the power window. So first thing we'll do is pop these off and disconnect the inside part of it, and then we'll slowly just work our way along, disconnecting each connector and popping off these clips. Okay, first things first, we'll pop off the door sill. Again, it's just held in by plastic clips, so these are usually pretty straightforward. You just pop them off. So these are the plastic clips that just locate into these holes here. Okay, next thing, we will get rid of this section so we can access our loom. On this car, it's held in by this little plastic hex. So I believe it's a 10 mil. And then the rest we can just pry away. Okay, we got our kick panel removed, and we just want to remember what connectors we're looking for. So we're trying to find a blue connector, a brown connector, and a gray connector. Follow that through the door here, and it branches out here. So we can see we've got our brown connector here, our blue connector there, and our gray connector is here. And if you're unsure, normally they'll all be different colors, all these connectors, but if they're not, another good trick is just to look at the color of the wire. So for our brown connector, we can see, so let me get you some light. We can see we've got a green with a red trace there, and then a blue with a white trace on the other side. So we look at our brown connector, and yeah, we can see that they're the same, got the same wires there. This brown connector has some more wires in it because it's running a 4-way switch. So let's go ahead and start disconnecting them. We've got all of our connectors that we need disconnected. I had to cut a few cable ties as well. So we will start peeling it back through the door jamb there, and then out through the door. All right, so we've got the harness or part of it through the door. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect all the remaining connectors from the door side. So I loosened up all the clips here just by using a combination of trim removal tool, a little fork. So anything that looks like that, it's helpful to pop the clips off. Also the pliers are useful, and a little flathead screwdriver just to get in behind some of the connector bodies and push the tabs down to disconnect. So we've got one more tab on the inside of the door here. There's one more clip or little tab just down in there on that cross brace, and we need to release that, then we can pull the whole harness out of the door. We've got the whole old harness out of the door now. All we're going to do is run our new harness down through there, out through the door jamb, connect those 3 plugs back into our box over here, and then connect all the remaining connectors back up on this side and see how we go. Okay, we've got our driver's side harness installed. I also went ahead and did the right-hand rear door just ahead of time, but I'll show you how to do the left side anyway. But the bit of a drama is we're gonna have to pull that harness out. I didn't realize, so obviously you need a left and right door harness for the rear windows, and they are actually wired slightly differently. So as you can see, when I push the switch down, nothing happens. When I lift it up, nothing happens. That's because I haven't connected the motor. Hang on. All right, with it connected, I push it down, nothing. Push it up, I push the switch up and it just went down. So made me think we got a polarity issue, and sure enough we do. So as you can see, the connector to the motor on this harness goes yellow, then green. And on this harness, which I was gonna put in the other door, it actually goes green, yellow. So the order of the wires is different, so different polarity. So I'm gonna have to put this harness in this door and then move this harness over to that side. But our master switch works, but again, it only works in reverse. So if I pull it up, it goes down. So once we swap over that harness, I'm sure everything will be back to normal. Just swapped over the harness, and as you can see, we got the switch working normally. And it also corrected the master switch on the driver's side. So I'll just show you that. If we lift that, window goes up. So yeah, all going well. Just gonna do the left-hand side rear now, and I'll show you how to do that. Righto, for this rear door panel, we're gonna be using the same tools as before. So get a trim removal tool, flathead screwdriver can be helpful, as well as our Phillips head screwdriver. Now, the first part of taking apart this rear door is to get this crank handle off. To do that, you want to pry the handle towards you, and you'll look down the gap, and you'll see a little clip like this one, like a horseshoe, and you just want to try and get that off with your screwdriver or whatever you can make work. It's probably the trickiest part, and then the rest is straightforward. So we'll pop up the armrest, get the screws under there, take off these plastic trim screws, and then we'll pop the whole door card off. We got the door card off as well as the door skin. Now, to get the harness out, The harness actually lives behind the B-pillar trim here. So to get that out, we're going to take off the sill here and probably the front passenger side one as well. Just pop it up with your hands and yeah, it lives underneath there. We've just gotten the B-pillar trim off, and behind it we've got this black plate here. There are two small 10mm bolts there, and in behind it is where our harness connector lives. Disconnect it from the connector here, and then you can push the rubber fitting through the door there, through the B-pillar, and then through the door. Come down here, you've got a white plastic clip which you can undo there with a set of pliers. Come around there, pop that off with either or with one of your fork sort of tools. So you can either use the plastic one or a metal one. Remove the harness from these ones. These just open up. You don't have to remove the white part. Again, we can push that one in with a set of pliers, and then we've got our connector here. So we've just gotten our harness out. Now it is time to remove the regulator, or the manual regulator mechanism. So we've got three 10mm bolts there. Now's a good idea. You want to sort of get the window halfway down, because you can see that's where I'll show you the mechanism, but that's where it sits in the window channel rail to move the window up and down there, that yellow piece. So yeah, get the window about halfway down and then secure it just with some tape. So I'll just tape the window here just to hold it in place. Then we can loosen this off, pull it out, and then we'll put our new window regulator with the motor inside. So yeah, this is what sits in the rail, and as the motor operates, this arm essentially moves up and down, which is what makes your window go up and down. So once you loosen off those three bolts, the old one, you can just sort of push it back, shimmy it a bit, and then this wheel, you can just slide out of the rail and then pull it out the door card. We've already got our new one in. It uses different bolt holes to this one. This one, as you can see, has got 3 mounting positions, whereas the new electric one has 4. Toyota have made 4 holes in the door for that to already line up to, which is awesome. So we're going to remove our tape and then manually push the window up from the bottom all the way up, and then it should allow us to line up some of the holes to put the bolts in. Right, we've got one bolt securing our window motor regulator at the moment. We're going to run the harness through the car, get it all wired up. Then once it's wired up, we can flick the switch and it will sort of twist the regulator and help everything settle so we can get the remainder of the bolts put in. Our power window conversion is now complete. This window goes up and down. So what I'm going to do, just put the door skins back on all the doors, the door cards, the B-pillar trims and the metal plate that went over the connector, the kick panel. So I'm just going to do all of that in fast motion because there's nothing much to see. It's pretty much just applying what we've already done in reverse. So, you know, 2 screws to hold in the door card there. There'll be 1 screw up here around the door handle. All the bottom holes are just plastic trim clips that just push and click in. This switch will just click into the door card itself. So, yeah, not too much more to it. Thanks for joining me on putting the rear power windows in the Corolla. So we've got the 4-button switch in there now. We've got the switch in the rear and the door cards. I'm missing the armrest just because I thought I would be able to use the old ones, but the armrest shape is actually different compared to the wind-up window cars. And yeah, this side's done as well. So we'll flick it on and show you what's happening. Yeah, and you can see the central locking still works, sorry. So yeah, it's a pretty easy job on a car like this. The hardest part was probably the driver's door harness. It just took a while to feed it all through. I didn't have to add any extra fuses or relays or change any of the pinouts on the plugs. So it was all just plug and play really, which is super handy. So if you do have a car that only has front power windows and was optioned with rear power windows, contact your wreckers or have a look around some junkyards and see what you can find. All right, thanks for joining.